This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices, and you can get a special price right now by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. So, we were just talking about upgradability and sometimes our tendency to put operating systems on hardware that it shouldn't be on, and one of the things that comes with that is software problems. And you guys have been dealing with some of that, right?
So we have just launched at Tom's Hardware in time for a new version of Windows to potentially come out at the end of this month. A guide for on how to deal with everyone's favorite thing, blue screens of death. If you're not familiar with what a blue screen of death is, I think probably anybody listening to this program or watching this program is familiar, but that's that screen you get when your Windows crashes and the screen turns blue, and in Windows 10 it gives you a frowny face. And it gives you some type of an error. Usually gives you one of these stop codes, which is usually something like critical process died, IRQL not less or equal, page fault in non-paged area, system thread exception not handled, all of those things. So we are working with. We have a new writer, Ed Tittle, who is a famous Windows 10. A Windows expert, Windows author, and he's been doing a bunch of stories on how to deal with it if you get a blue screen of death. And hopefully, when people get blue screens of death and they Google and they're looking for help, we will have some help for them. So, what should you do if you get a blue screen of death? Well, first of all, the thing to do is if possible, before it reboots itself, take a note of what the stop code was. Was it critical process died, whatever, if you can. Now, by default, most Windows computers are set to automatically reboot themselves after a few seconds, so you may not have time to do it. I actually recommend, although this is not the default, that you go into the startup and recovery before you ever get a blue screen of death. You go into the startup and recovery options in Windows 10 and disable or uncheck where it says automatically restart, because that way when you get a blue screen of death, your computer won't restart and you can take a picture of the screen. But even if you don't, that's okay, because by default Windows keeps a memory dump, and what you need to do is you want to you may want to take a look at what is in the memory dump. So there's a number of tools that will actually read your memory dumps. There's one that we like called Blue Screen View from a company called Nearsoft, and it is a free download, and that will open all of your little dump files for you and show you what the error was. Now, knowing what the error is and fixing it are not necessarily the same thing, but it always helps. The order of operations that you should do when you are investigating a blue screen of death is, first of all, you want to look at what has changed recently on your computer. Have you installed new software? Have you updated a driver? Have you upgraded the hardware? Those are the main culprits for system crashes. So you want to try to systematically use the scientific method and figure out which of these it was. One thing you can do is you can boot into safe mode, which means that you will not have all of the drivers running, and so you can see, hey, am I still blue screening in this? Or you can do what's called a clean boot, which we have a tutorial on how to do, which involves just disabling all non-Microsoft services and programs that start up to see if it's one of those. And if you don't get a blue screen, then you slowly turn them back on. But with an eye toward what did I update or install recently, right? What's the new software that I just installed? What's the new driver that I just installed? Um, if you if it is a driver, if you think it is a driver, the thing to do would be to go into the device manager, right click on the device, go to the driver tab, and then there should be a rollback button. If there's not, then you may need to just download and reinstall an older version of the driver, if that's what it is. So you want to see which of these things it is. Is it software? Is it a driver? Is it possibly even a rogue Windows update? And you may need to go and actually uninstall a Windows update itself, which is really messed up, but not impossible to have happen. I, for better or worse, have one of my computers in the Windows Insider program, and for a while there was an update that was causing my computer to not blue screen, but I don't know what you call this technically, go into a coma. It would boot to a blank screen, and then I couldn't see anything, but it wasn't off. So it was neither, it was like somewhere between life and death, right? I couldn't boot up my computer. And so what I would have to do is like hold down the power button, turn it off, force power off, turn it on again. Same thing. After it happened, after it happens 2 times in a row, then Windows automatically rolls back to a previous state. And so Windows would be okay. But then it would immediately try to download the same update again. Like, hey, you don't have the latest update. Let me download this for you again and break your computer again. So I keep delaying the update. Like, don't give me this update. It's going to break my computer. And then every few weeks it would do it anyway. It was very, very frustrating. Finally, and I could not figure out what was causing it. And I could not exit the Insider program, which really makes me think maybe the Insider program is not so great if you really need your computer. Because while I like to have access to the latest and greatest stuff, if my computer can't be booted and there's no way to fix it, like getting out of the Insider program seems to be like getting out of a gang or something. It's really it's really hard to get out once you're in. I think the way that the official way to get out would be if you had a full update or something. Like if you were at the next, if your if your Insider build coincides with the latest actual build, then I think you can leave at that time, or you can just do a clean reinstall of Windows, and then lose all your programs and settings and everything. So I kind of stuck with it, and then eventually I got an update that didn't break my computer. I still don't know why the previous one did. I guess I managed to hang around for like 2 or 3 months until they finally came out with a new update that I guess didn't have that problem. But it was very frustrating. But that's not a blue screen. But nevertheless, the thing to do is use blue screen view and try to go through a process of elimination to figure out what problem it is. Now, as I alluded to at the beginning of this segment, Microsoft may be coming out with a new version of Windows soon. There is a lot of rumors and hinting that the June 24th Microsoft event will be the announcement of Windows 11 because of the pictures that they've shown that look like an 11, and it's at 11 a.m. So it's possible there will be a new version of Windows. However, I almost guarantee that even when that happens, these steps will probably be the same. And of course, just because they're announcing Windows 11 doesn't mean people are actually going to be on Windows 11. anytime soon. So anyhow, so keep those things in mind, and if you don't remember, just go to Tom's Hardware and look for BSOD, Blue Screen of Death, and you will find our many resources.
Well, I can say that not on Blue Screen of Death yet, thank goodness, but I have on more than one occasion. In fact, just before the show, uh, gone searching for help on things, and I always tend to find myself on Tom's Hardware, which is a good sign that
Yeah,
you're.
I mean, we're trying to be there when people find, people search. Just this afternoon, very coincidentally, my 9-year-old son was trying to figure out how to make this ultrasonic sensor work
Mhm.
with a Raspberry Pi Pico, and so he Googled ultrasonic sensor Raspberry Pi Pico, and he landed on our website because we did a tutorial on how to do it from a few months ago. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're always out there trying our best to make it work, to help people, to empower people, and so that you can not just be a follower and passively accept what happens to your computer or your devices. That you can take control and figure out how to solve problems and how to take your technology to the next level. So that's always the goal.
Well, it is definitely appreciated, obviously, by enough people that I stumble on it all the time. Even your son, by coincidence, found himself there. That is a good sign that you're on the right path, and I appreciate it. I know a lot of other people do as well, and I also appreciate you bringing this information to us tonight. And as always, I look forward to what we talk about next. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Piltch Point with Avram Piltch. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, and of course, hit the notification bell since subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. And if you've got topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you don't want to follow us on YouTube, that's okay. There's a lot of other ways that you can follow our content. You can find all of that by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all the different ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.